I found out my neighbor used to watch me shower when I was a kid. I'm 22 years old now. We used to have a neighbor who was around 60 to 70 years old. He died a few years ago. When he was still alive, he would cause us so much trouble. Scratched our car, poisoned our apple trees and grass, blew up a firework near me to cause me to temporarily go deaf in one ear when I was 4. All kinds of things. His son was a judge in our city, so pretty much everything we took to court was against us. I remember Dad often called us from work to tell us not to be alone at home, and we would have to stay at Grandma's. When I was little, I think around 6 or 7, I would frequently have nightmares about seeing a face outside of the bathroom window. The window is above our bathtub. It's high enough that no one can actually see in unless they climb the roof of our shed, which is underneath the bathroom window in our garden. Coincidentally, the shed is directly next to a fence that separates our garden from the neighbor's one. I still remember the dreams. I remember having them pretty much every other night. I never told my parents when I was little because we never really talked about anything. So I didn't really share anything that was happening to me. Well, I grew up thinking they were just dreams, and that was it. I did mention them to my therapist last year because we were discussing some personal problems, and I felt like this was kinda connected. After coming home, Mum asked me what I talked about with my therapist, so I finally shared I used to have such dreams. I never really thought about them being real, but she told me I actually did tell her I saw our neighbor on our shed's roof. I don't remember telling her that, but she said I did mention it several times, and even my friends told her they saw him there when they came over to our house and it creeped them out. Apparently I never mentioned him watching me shower, but after she told me that, it really clicked for me, and it was as if I suddenly remembered that, yeah, I do think it was him. It would make sense. And the fact that it happened still creeps me out. There was another incident that creeped me out. It happened when I was around 9 or 10. I went to the balcony in the evening. The balcony door was in my room, and I often went there to call my cat home in the evening. But this time I saw a person standing in the middle of our garden. It was already dark out, and I couldn't really tell who it was. I waited for a little bit to see what the person does, but I didn't really see him move. It was as if he was just standing and staring in front of him. I called out Dad because obviously I expected it to be him, even though I found it odd. But the person looked up at me, and even though it was dark, I could tell it was someone else. I think it was partly because my eyes had just adjusted to the dark, and I could make out the silhouette of the person better. I went to tell my dad, who was downstairs, but when he looked, there was no one there. When I went back upstairs to my room and went to the balcony again, I noticed my neighbor's back door closing just when I looked there. I don't remember if it was directly the next day or a few days later, but our grass turned brown and we found out it was poisoned, most of the grass being out of reach from his property.